My reputation precedes me on this. You know, when me and Sean were growing up, we couldn't stand each other. We fought like cats and dogs. We never got along. You know, I was always having to drag him to go play with my friends. You know, my mom and dad would say, "Take your brother with you, or you're not going." So we didn't become friends until I got sober, and then became best friends. And we fought a lot. We were fighting siblings, but God, I was over there talking with my wife and Clint, and like, what Sean story should I tell? There were so many of them. And the one that I could tell in Nick's company, when Sean was 17, he was living at home, and I had got my car taken away from me because of my actions, and so Sean was driving my Monte Carlo, and Sean was a little overweight at that time, to say the least, and so my dad and my mom put him on a diet. So the deal was, when my dad got home from work on a Friday, in order for Sean to be able to use the car, he had to have either lost a little bit of weight or had not gained any weight. So conveniently, Sean would be in the backyard chipping golf balls every Friday afternoon when my dad got home. So my dad would walk out the sliding door from the master bedroom out by the pool where the grass area was and says, "Come on, Sean, let's get on the scale." So Sean would walk over to the scale. He'd have his wedge in his hand. He'd stand on the scale, and he'd just barely lean a little bit on that. His weight. My dad would be like, he'd be scratching his head, shaking his head, telling Marty, that boy hasn't lost any weight, or he hasn't gained any weight. He's as big as a house. And Sean didn't tell my dad the truth for many, many years, but when he did tell my dad was not happy. If you put John McCarthy together, you did something special. My dad was hard to get one over. I'm going to tell one Vegas story. And Sean would want me to tell this story. Okay. We were all over in Vegas for Bobby's wedding. Ray and Sean were sharing a room. I think we were at the Bellagio, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and outside each elevator there was a sitting table with 2 chairs, and the security guard is tapping Sean on the knee with his flashlight. "Excuse me, sir, are you staying here at the hotel?" Now, I forgot one important part about the story. Sean is in only his underwear. So, all we can figure out is that he must have obviously had a little too much to drink, and he went outside for something, locked himself out of the door, and he thought he was in his room. And so the security guard is saying, "Let me help you to your room." You know, "What's your room number?" "I don't know, 724, 742. "Well, let's go help you find your room." So Sean gets ready to knock on the first door he comes to, and the guy says, wait, sir, you sure this isn't your room further on down?" 3 doors down was all of Sean's clothes hanging off the doorknob on the outside. And I'm going to guess probably to this day that they are still showing that video at their annual Christmas party where Sean locked out. But I'm sure they had a lot of fun with that one. So I love my brother. I cannot tell you how much I'm going to miss my brother. We fought, we laughed, we cried. I've got to just embellish a little bit on Richard's story. The story that Richard told in the eulogy today was a little bit funnier than Richard could probably get across to you. So I'm going to kind of build it up a little bit. Richard had been practicing this fabulous magic trick for days, you know. He wanted to just dazzle Sean McCarthy. You know, when Richard and Sean were working at Hallowell, he pulled so many tricks on Richard. You know, Richard, he would call Richard the cheap little, whatever nationality. I don't want to offend anybody, but Richard, Sean would get change, and Sean would throw change on the ground, and Richard would go over and pick it up. So one day, Sean had a slug. He had a slug palmed in his hand, and he had a quarter in between his thumb and his forefinger. And across from across the showroom, "Richard, look what I got." And he went to throw it, and he kept the quarter, and he threw the slug. And the slug landed completely in the middle of the floor under a vehicle. And Richard scurried over there, scurried under the car, only to pick up the slug. So he wanted to get, he wanted to dazzle me and Sean. We met at Livingston's that night for dinner. And the thing was, if I can try to get this correct, he had copied this dollar bill, he had taken the real dollar bill, and he was going to burn what we thought was the real dollar bill, and then he was going to open up this piece of fruit to show us the bill that we thought he had just burned up. Well, I guess when he copied the bills, one half wasn't copied or something or other, but when Richard showed me and Sean the dollar bill, he had his finger covering one half of the bill with the number. See, he said these bills are these numbers are the same. And Sean said, let me see it. Well, Richard had made such an obvious attempt to cover up the number. Sean said, now, granted, this is only 30 seconds into this magic trick that Richard has been practicing for 3 days. Sean said, let me see it, Richard. And he pulled his finger away. Well, now he's busted. Now the whole trick is just completely blown out. It's done. There's no trick anymore. And Richard's like, damn McCarthy's, I swear to God, I knew I shouldn't have showed it to you guys together. So he cuts the fruit open, the lemon, you get the dollar out. Now the trick is blown out, and he's trying to tell us how the trick was. Well, first of all, when he put the super glue in the dollar bill to glue it inside the lemon, he put so much super glue it took 3 of us to jar it loose from the lemon. Even if he had gotten that far on the trick, he would have never been able to show us, because the glue had glued the super glue together, or the dollar bill together so much, there was no way we're ever going to be able to compare that as the real dollar bill. So my brother and I laughed, and my wife was there too. We laughed, and Lucinda, his wife, laughed every bit as hard as me and Sean and my wife. And we laughed probably for 40, they must have thought we were deranged on the sidewalk of Livingston. We laughed that hard. And I gave Richard the dollar bill today to keep. That's his memento of Sean. And that whole night we were jibing Richard about it. That'd make a great toothpick. That'd make a great swizzle stick for your drink. Sean's he's mixing his drink with it at the Planet Cafe or when they got their next drinks. But Richard was always a very good sport about it. So there's lots of other stories, and I want you guys to come up here and tell your. I'm going to tell you the one about that Al talked about. Sean was playing junior golf, and I guess back at that time you couldn't help the kids look for their golf ball, and Sean hit a ball into the rough, and my dad was over there looking for the golf ball, and the Barney Fife marshal came up, the little crotchety marshal. Hey, you can't help the kid look for their golf ball. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. So about 2 holes later, my dad and some other dads were over there looking for the golf ball, and the crotchety marshal comes up and says, hey, I told you can't help the kids look for their golf ball. He goes, it's not my son's golf ball, it's his opponent's golf ball I'm looking for. I don't care, if you do it again, it's going to cost your son 2 strokes. Or the hole, I don't know if they were playing match or metal. So about 4 holes later, Sean turns to my dad and says, where's that marshal? I haven't seen him for a while. Oh, he won't be bothering us anymore. He pulled in his pocket and pulls out the guy's golf cart key. My dad had waited for the furthest hole on the golf course and went over and grabbed the key out of the cart and stuck it in his pocket and walked away. And anybody that knows my dad can see Big John doing that. Anyway, I want to, this is a turnout that Sean would have wanted. I'm sorry he left us as soon as he did, and he was my best friend. I was very close to my brother the last 20 years, and I'm going to miss him a lot, and I know you guys will too. Thank you.